Hello, everybody, and welcome to the SecureAF Podcast. I'll be your host today, Tanner Shinn, and I've got Keelan here with me today.
What's up?
We just got back from Defcon 31, and I got Keelan here because it was his first time. He was a Defcon newbie, and I kind of wanted to get him in here and talk about his experiences being a Defcon for the first time. So what'd you think?
It was quite the experience. It was amazing. It was awesome. There's a lot more to it than I actually expected or anticipated. For anyone who's looking to attend or go to Defcon, don't expect to experience everything.
Oh yeah, there's way more to do than there is time.
Right.
Yeah. What was some of the highlights for you? What was the coolest talk you saw?
One of the only talks I really got a chance to sit in on and listen to was Lemon's social engineering or anti-social social engineering.
Yeah, that one was definitely solid.
Yeah.
Definitely solid.
I think for the most part, I enjoyed just meeting people from other parts of the world who are doing some of the things that we're doing. That was interesting to me to witness and experience.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's funny how all of DEF CON centered around talks, and it's between waiting in lines for the talks,
Exactly.
getting 25 minutes away because everything's super far in Vegas, right, and how close the talks are together. Like, yeah, I always want to see way more talks than I get to see. I think I got to see some pretty cool ones. There was one where he was talking about basically hacking threat actors, which is really cool. It was all about finding 0 days in C2 servers.
Yeah.
Man, the guy dropped like 5 0 days on the talk. Super cool.
Gotcha.
One of the other ones I was super excited about was did you see the Metasploit demo?
I did not have a chance to check out the Metasploit demo.
That's pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So I don't really use Metasploit much anymore, but I have a fondness in my heart for it because it's something that I've used for years and years. You know, going back, God, I feel like maybe 12 years now. I was still using Metasploit,
Gotcha.
back getting started. So it's really cool to see it kind of get the revamp that it needed.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking like it's getting to a point where you could probably do a whole pen test in Metasploit. For hitting ADCS, for hitting, it's got a whole new radius option. It's got everything like that. So I'm look forward to it.
What was kind of neat that I had a chance to check out was some of the stuff going on in the demo labs. In the demo labs, there's people working on like personal projects or GitHub projects that they're just sharing and offering anyone who's interested to basically contribute to those projects. That was kind of cool to experience and see also.
Yeah, definitely spent a lot of time in there. So what was the kind of change it up a little bit? What was the thing that you least expected to do at DEF CON that you did?
Least expected to do?
Yeah.
I can't necessarily answer that question because I didn't know what to expect before going. I didn't learn about DEF CON until literally last summer. I didn't even know this conference even existed. And so entering into this cybersecurity space and then also just kind of approaching it open-minded, I basically just took it how it came.
Yeah, if you're not open-minded at DEF CON, you're probably not going to have a good time.
Right.
You'll see a lot of stuff there,
A lot of interesting things.
A lot of interesting people. You'll meet somebody dressed up in a furry suit,
right?
And you'll be like, oh, this is kind of weird, and then they'll start talking to you about exploit dev or something, and you're just like, what is happening right
Perfectly
now?
Normal.
What is
perfectly normal?
Yeah, it's definitely it's always a good time for me at least. So
yeah.
All right, trying to think. So some of the things that I always enjoy are meeting up with some of the specific groups, like DC ZIA, which is the New Mexico area DEFCON group. We met up with those guys. There's an amazing group of people. Even though none of us are from there, I still hang out with them every year. So PepperCon was another group we got to hang out with. That a whole bunch. DC 303, and it's all groups of really awesome people. It's like there's just so many groups you can kind of just meet people. Did you find yourself some new friends here?
I did make some new friends. Some folks from Dominican Republic, Baltimore, Washington D.C., Seattle, Australia. Even ran into quite a few people from Oklahoma, which was surprising.
Yeah, that's always
It was a great representation from Oklahoma.
Yeah, there is. It's as John said one year, he said everybody travels halfway across the country to go hang out with their friends from back home.
Yep.
It's kind of there's a certain truth to that for sure. So well, would you do it again?
Absolutely. I would absolutely do it again. The thing I did least expect was the amount of walking. Definitely got my steps in every single day.
Yeah, I think I averaged about 30,000 steps.
Same.
Yeah,
Likewise.
It's a lot of walking for sure. So, what would you approach anything differently next year?
I would basically plan out everything I want to experience or participate in going into next year, but then also make sure that I get more involved in the hands-on things in terms of the demo labs, sitting in on a lot more of those GitHub projects in the demo labs. The red team line was super long. You hardly ever could get in unless you were up super early in the morning.
Yeah.
And that line never died down throughout the entire conference. AI Village, I actually had a chance to check it out this year, but I was kind of disappointed in what was inside of there because the lines to get inside of there was super long, just as long as the red team lines. To be honest with you, I think it'd be kind of cool to participate in the social engineering village.
Yeah. Hey, I know Donovan said he's gonna try and do the vishing competition. So
I think
maybe you partner up with them for the vishing competition. I'd love to see some Alias people out there representing in that. You know, I do some vishing, but it's not exactly my specialty. It's not my forte. So
gotcha.
we could use some better skills.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah. Going back to the lines at the red team thing, I think that red team village kind of needs to figure something out because they have so much good content.
Right.
I would say the majority of the stuff that I wanted to see, well, naturally, as a red teamer, were from Red Team Village. And I haven't gotten into Red Team Village in like 2 years because it's just the lines are crazy. You have to miss 4 other things to get in line for one talk.
I was just about to say that.
It's really tough. Yeah, I think they need to heavily expand it. They need to give it at least something the size of one of the main tracks because it's just it's grown. I mean, Red Team Village themselves, they do their own cons and stuff, and I mean they do. Yeah, it's just something that's so big at this point. It needs more space. It needs because everybody wants to go there. Clearly,
I agree.
And they get all kinds of incredible talent that comes and talks and demonstrates new things and new techniques, and you just can't even get in hardly. So
I definitely agree with that. Bigger space, also coordination on people accessing the Red Team Village would benefit a lot of people in the community. It was interesting to see how many people were in attendance who actually are not active in the industry but interested in tapping in or breaking into the industry as opposed to those who are actually doing things.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think the majority of the people that go there are IT or some kind of, maybe not necessarily security. And a lot of, you run into people of all walks there. I always run into, it's funny, I always end up finding myself a table full of red team people and hang out with them all night. And it's kind of funny because whenever you start walking around and talking to people, it's a very small portion of the people there that are doing offensive security or like red teaming type of stuff. And so it's funny to kind of go around and talk to those people and be like, we always find each other. It's kind of
it's kind of funny because me personally, since this was my first Defcon experience, for me, it's kind of impossible to not have that sense of imposter syndrome, especially when you feel like you don't know as much as you realize you know until you start having conversations and meeting all these people who have traveled from around the world, and then you're like, oh, okay, I guess we are doing some, I am doing some cool things. I guess I do know a lot more than I realized I knew.
That's my favorite part about taking the team.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. And I can tell some of our, for example, Robert, whatever, he was super new. He's super young guy, his first time went to DEFCON, he was 20. And I mean, that was, I think that definitely helped shake the imposter syndrome and stuff just to like realize, oh, wow, we are doing cool stuff. Like, we are doing stuff that people want to do. Where you talk about, oh yeah, I'm doing this thing and I'm working on this project, and people are like, oh my God, I've always wanted to do that.
Right.
It's like, it's definitely a cool feeling and
confidence booster for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think on the same coin though, you realize that everybody has their own specialties and their specifics and stuff. Where it's like, I like to think I know a little bit about hardware, but whenever I talk to the hardware hacking people there, I realize I don't. Like, God, those guys can break your brain on hardware and stuff. But at the same time, you know, if you want to talk to them about, doing any kind of payload obfuscation, they're going to be like, I don't know, hardware, I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure. Drink. So, trying to think. We covered some of the villages. All right, what was the best party you went to?
The best party?
Besides the one that got shut down for a bomb threat.
I would say
talk about that.
I would say all of them were pretty cool, but just hanging out with the PepperCon guys and seeing some of the things that were going on over at Circle Bar at the Link Hotel.
Yeah.
I think that was the go-to spot for meeting and having interesting conversations.
Yes. Yeah, the Circle Bar gets crazy every night. It's a nonstop. Yeah, insanity. Absolute insanity. No matter what time you're there, you can be there at noon, or you can be there at 4 a.m, or you can be there at 9 p.m, and it's always a crowd of people there. Then it's just, best place to meet people, in my opinion.
My personal opinion also, I think I met more people there than at the actual conference itself.
Yeah, it's a better environment to kind of stop and hang out and talk to people.
Right.
One thing that really sucked is all of the kind of, was it Saturday or Sunday that we got evacuated?
It was Saturday.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the really the big night for the parties and stuff, where they have most of the official Defcon parties.
Right.
I guess a dog freaked out about a box, and they thought it was it was a bomb dog, and they evacuated the whole conference and wouldn't let anybody back in until the next day, and that was like 9 or 10 o'clock. So they, these parties go till 4 or 5. So we definitely missed one of the big chunks of the main day, which was a little disappointing, but it happens. I'm glad nobody was hurt, and I'm glad it wasn't a real bomb. So on the bright side of that,
kudos to the staff for basically doing a good job of communicating to everyone in attendance about the last day of the conference after all that transpired. Just letting everyone know through, like, whether it be Hacker Tracker, Reddit, and all these other platforms, to make everyone aware of what the situation was and how it was going to impact the final day.
Yeah, definitely. The goons always do a great job, at least in recent years, for sure. So it's all I can speak to, of keeping everybody aware of what's going on. They do the transparency report at the end of everything, and I think that's a super cool thing that DEF CON has that other cons don't, where it really shows that it's a community-driven, community-organized, like it kind of, it's very open, very democratic, I guess.
Yeah. The closing ceremony was a bit interesting. I wasn't in attendance to actually see it firsthand in person, but I did happen to catch it on the TV as it was being conducted. The statistics that they basically dived into in terms of network traffic, users accessing different APs and Wi-Fi's, and how much traffic that was coming through on any given day of the conference, times, and so forth. Like, that was interesting to see and hear as they dived into that. That was a first for me.
Yeah, and that's just the DEF CON network too. That's not even which, I don't know. I'll play around on the DEF CON network. I always bring a laptop, and I make sure to go to Pack a Hacking Village and plug in and do some PCAP stuff and try and hone those tools. But I'm not just hopping on my phone to use DEF CON network Wi-Fi. Like, I don't know who is.
I don't either. I would assume that most people who are setting up like the hands-on labs in the villages, maybe they're using the DEF CON network, and people having to sign in to whatever computers are available for those hands-on activities. I would assume that would be the case, but anyone just in attendance. I didn't connect to any Wi-Fi network the entire time I was.
Yeah, no, that's the safe bet. I always bring a machine to connect to and play with and stuff. Did you see the VM vending machine?
I did see that. I did.
That's so cool. That was there last year for the first year, and I didn't get to see it last year, but I got to see it this year, and I was excited to see it. I just think it's awesome. I guess I can explain it. So they have a literal vending machine that looks like it's just a Coke vending machine. The sides are all covered in stickers, and the front says something about VM vending, but it looks like a Coke machine.
Yep.
And you walk up, you stick $1 in, and you can choose Debian, you can choose Arch, you can choose Kali, you can choose DD-Wort, you can choose your, I guess, OpenWort. Sorry, I'm showing my age. You can choose whatever distro you want, and you press it, and it'll spit you out a piece of paper, and on that paper, it'll have credentials and an IP that you can log into, and it's just a shell that you can use. It's just your own little virtual machine. You can go log into it, use it for whatever you want on the Defcon network. You can use it for, some of the CTFs, just playing around, just whatever you want. So it's this is one of my favorite things for sure. So one of the other things I wanted to cover, going back to the parties a little bit, because let's be real, DEF CON is half a party, half learning, half networking, three halves. It's probably a couple other halves in there too. But so what did you think about the music scene? Because that was one of the things that I was probably the most surprised about, was the size and scale of some of the rappers that we have coming there, and some of the DJs and stuff like that. So what was your take on some of that?
It was interesting to see how embedded the music culture is within this conference, because just like with the talks where there's someone who's speaking, pretty much a different speaker every hour in every session or every village, there were also different DJs DJing throughout the entire conference, same way. Like, one person had this set going on at this hour, maybe an hour and a half later, someone else is coming up DJing, and they're from the culture of DEF CON. These are actual hackers. These are actual people with skill sets that are doing the things or hacking the things. So that was pretty cool and interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure. That was one of the coolest things to me. It was like, oh, you're doing music here. That's cool. Yeah. And you start talking to them, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm a web app pen tester.
Right.
And it's like, oh, like, wait a minute. Yeah, that's cool. Or it's all just, it's their hobby and stuff. So what was the best set you saw, either from from MC or a DJ or?
Well, a lot of the artists and DJs are still new to me.
Yeah.
I don't know too many of the artists. I mean, it was kind of cool as we were on the strip walking from one venue to another. I think we were out, we had just finished grabbing lunch or dinner, and we're on our way back to the con, and we just so happened to bump into, is it N80?
Dual Core.
Dual Core. Yeah. So
Dual Core's it's a duo. I can't remember his name. I always forget it.
I think it's N80.
Might be it.
I believe so.
Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty cool running into him.
And even in the chill out room where the stage was set up and people were performing, like, to just sit in and listen to some of the music, the lyrics, like I was surprised. I'm a beat junkie.
Yeah.
So I love like a good sound of beats, and the beats were like they made me want to listen.
Right.
And as you listen more, the songs themselves, the lyrics themselves pertain to what it is that we do in this industry. So
yeah, it's always super cool. Yeah, that's
Oh My, I think that's his name.
Oh yeah,
he's a good artist to listen to also.
Yeah, he's actually really good. I caught him there, I think, the year before. I didn't catch him there this last year, but the year before.
I missed out on Whitey Cracker.
Yeah, he was on the same time as Dual Core.
Really?
Yeah, so I went to go see Dual Core instead. But yeah, I would have liked to see them both for sure. Well, trying to think of anything else, anything else cool we could have covered. So I guess let's wrap it up with some advice here. So I want to go to DEF CON for the first time. I've never been. What do you tell me? What's your advice to me?
Bring plenty of good walking shoes, comfortable walking shoes.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated. Understand that you're not going to be able to sit in on every talk and presentation that you want to listen in on. Plan it out and try to basically map out your entire day. That way you can plan out your steps. You can get to some of the things that you want to participate in, but also make sure that you're in the moment of actually connecting with other people while you're there. I think that's more important than anything. is the connections you get to make while you're there.
Right on. I couldn't agree more. All right. Well, I think that about covers it. Keelan, thank you for joining me here today on SecureAF Podcast.
Yeah.
All righty. That's it. Thanks, everybody.